All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Eric Rodriguez, here every Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 11 p.m. Eastern Time, here to talk about everything in terms of the world of professional wrestling, all the action inside and outside of the ring, backstage curtain drama, WWE superstar inactive statuses, injury updates. We talk about their contracts, extensions, as well as new signings. We talk about promotions from AEW to WWE, the TNA to Ring of Honor. We talk about the GCW to the NWA. We also talk about basically absolutely anything that becomes hot in the world of professional wrestling. We talk about here on this show presented by the GSMC Sports Network. So, yeah. All right, let's go ahead and jump on into this segment here. AEW's Wrestling Dream. Overall, I did not see it. I got to be honest. I did see it. I watched the broken down. Kind of coagulated highlights there. And, I got a main gist of what exactly happened. Of course, kind of getting the narrative, giving you guys my analysis and giving a little bit of, giving a little bit of exactly how I feel about some of these matches. But before we do any of that, I want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that super chat if you have a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we are absolutely all ears 1,010%. The show is all about keeping the conversation lively, making sure you guys feel like you are part of the show as well, making sure you guys feel like you're part of the mix. And, so don't be shy and drop your thoughts. And if you really, really, really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed on the show, why not use that super chat? It's that $ below that chat box right there. Whatever you type in will be guaranteed to be featured on the show so we can discuss anything you guys, have to say about any of the given subjects. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be about the subject matter being approached on the show. It could also be, a hot take in the history of professional wrestling. It could also be about superstar news. Like, it could be, absolutely anything if you guys have an opinion. Absolutely, even if you got to give me a shout out of, where you're listening from, maybe perhaps, what you guys did over the weekend. I'm just kidding. No, if it's brief, we can discuss about it. Like, you know what I mean? If you had a massive chess tournament, and I'm just kidding, no. But no, chess is actually fun. I got to be honest, I a lot of patience, a lot of strategic thinking. But overall, I'm not the best chess player. Of course, if you play online, you can find me on the game and stuff like that. Easy level, definitely easy. I'm probably beating first graders and stuff like that. But it's all part of all part of my confidence. So don't you dare rain on my parade. I'm just kidding. No. But anyways, once again, guys, also doing that, donating also guarantees that all these podcasters having these amazing shows can bring you even more awesome content coming to you guys Monday through Friday on the GSMC Sports Network. Content that you guys love. You're absolutely super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily on the GSMC Sports Network. Your support makes all the difference. So let's keep the conversation going. Let's keep this party going. Send in those super chats, those super stickers, because you guys are super awesome. And together we will make sure this podcast is bigger, better, and stronger than ever. Once again, if the super chat is not your thing, go ahead and hit up the tips and donations link at the gsmcpodcast.net. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Just remember to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Follow the show, follow the network here at the GSMC Sports Network. We do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1,010%. But of course, criticism in terms of talking sports, it's all part of the game. No hard feelings here, not really that sensitive. Obviously, whatever you guys have to say is greatly appreciated. Feedback is a gift. So, let's go ahead and talk about our AEW's WrestleDream, which took place on Saturday. From what I watched, I liked it. I thought it was, I thought it was pretty dynamite. They were live in Tacoma, Washington. Starting off with what happened at the 0 hour, we had Brian Cage defeating Atlantis Jr. for the Ring of Honor Television Championship, which seemed like it was it was well placed. It was a good spot for Brian Cage. He's been so impressive throughout his tenure with AEW. So I kind of like that overall he was able to pick up the victory there. Was able to be now he's a fighting champion, and which is perfect for him. Anna Jay defeats Harley Cameron. The Acclaim defeats MXM Collection. I think it's Max. I'm not too sure. The Outrunners teaming up with Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly of the conglomeration defeat Alex Reynolds, Arya Davari, Tony Nese, and John Silver. Much like building up momentum for their future. Orange Cassidy and also Kyle O'Reilly. I feel like they deserve a lot more. I feel like ultimately I tune into AEW Dynamite. These guys are always in great matches. Now you kind of have, and I'm going to talk about it a little later. You kind of have the Undisputed Kingdom kind of flirting with, turning babyface, which would be absolutely perfect for Kyle O'Reilly to kind of, take his place with the Undisputed Kingdom. But, I'm not too sure as well. You have the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion Mark Briscoe. You have Tomohiro Ishii. You have Orange Cassidy, Rocky Romero. You have all these amazing wrestlers, all these impressive guys. Ultimately, maybe joining an old faction could ultimately kind of shoot yourself in the foot. But I don't know. It should be interesting to find out what happens with their careers kind of moving forward. All right, back on to the main card. We're going to talk about Switchblade Jay White defeating Hangman Adam Page. After what Adam Page, basically defeated Swerve Strickland in that steel cage match, it was kind of a shocker. It was kind of a shocker to see him drop the ball here against, the returning, Switchblade Jay White. But it's surprising, but at the same time, I can understand why the AEW would do it. Jay White he's special. He's super special. Kind of reminds me of like a young, like Shawn Michaels. This guy could be the face of AEW. He doesn't necessarily have to drown himself, competing in, trios championships, or the 6-man championship or Ring of Honor. This guy could actually go out there and be like, maybe an AEW International Champion. That could definitely be on the table as well for Switchblade Jay White. He's impressive as hell. One of my favorite AEW wrestlers, I got to be honest. And he was able to, beat out Hangman Adam Page after he had that momentum of beating, the former AEW World Heavyweight Champion Swerve Strickland. Next, we have Mariah May retains her championship against Willow Nightingale. Willow Nightingale, not much to say about her except that she's like one of the best wrestlers in AEW in the women's division. She's very impressive. She's over with the crowd. She knows how to play with the crowd. She knows basically how to, she knows how to get people just hooked on her matches. I've kind of talked about this before on my podcast. Said 1,010%. I give her all my love and respect because of the way she can cut promos. She makes things, seem relevant. Even some matches you're like, I'm not really into it. And all of a sudden Willow Nightingale grabs the mic and you're like, oh crap, all of a sudden I want to see this match. So something that Willow Nightingale does really, really well. Obviously, Mariah May picked up the victory, but I think either way, it doesn't really, kind of negatively reflect on what Willow Nightingale has to offer or her future in AEW. Once again, you had Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, back out due to an illness. So, like, Lord only knows what would have happened if she would have been the one fighting Mariah May. I don't think Britt Baker would be. I don't think she's AEW World Heavyweight, a World, Women's Champion like just yet. I want to see her kind of fight a little bit more. After her return, I ultimately thought it would have been smart for AEW to drop the TBS Championship to Britt Baker to kind of ununify that because Mercedes Moné. She was fighting for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship once when she hurt her foot. Like, you know what I mean? And it's about time that I think Mercedes needs to start losing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm a fan. I like her better as a heel as opposed to a babyface. But I don't know. You're kind of hogging all the gold here, hogging all the spotlight. And obviously, you signed someone to a lucrative contract. You basically made her the highest paid women's wrestler in wrestling history. Up until I feel like WWE will give not give Becky Lynch that kind of money. But right now you have Mercedes Moné, and if you're investing this much money to her, professional wrestling, it's how much money and time and attention you kind of put into it, the more they're going to kind of be prominent and be the face of the company. So right now they're definitely gearing towards Mercedes Moné being the face and after paying her all that money. Like, I can understand, because at the same time, I don't know, she could still be the face of AEW holding one title though. So that's why I'm like, Next, we have Jack Perry defending his AEW TNT Championship against Katsuyori Shibata. Perry was able to kind of sneak out of the win because Shibata choked him out, but he landed on his shoulders there, getting the 1, 2, 3. Kind of. It was all right, but after the match, that's when it started heating up a lot. You saw you saw Jack Perry attack Shibata with the TNT Championship. Of course, then you saw Daniel Garcia come out and intervene, and then you saw MJF come out. You heard his music hit, so he returned to AEW as well. And then once when obviously you had that stare down between MJF and Daniel Garcia. You had Jack Perry hit Garcia from the back. Then, of course, once again, just kind of top that, we had Adam Cole return. Adam Cole returned to AEW. Possibly a babyface. I think it's possible he helped, dust off Daniel Garcia, shook his hand. What you're seeing with the, what I was mentioning before with the Undisputed Kingdom. You saw Roderick Strong's match with Hook. He got a handshake. You saw Matt Taven's match with Mark Briscoe. You got a handshake as well. So this could be a huge storyline. I feel like this could be great for the Undisputed Kingdom, and I feel like overall, you know, reunion with O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, and Cole, and of course with the newbies, Matt Taven and Mike Bennett would be pretty cool. I feel like that'd be pretty badass. All right, next we have the AEW International Championship. We have Will Ospreay taking on defending his championship against Ricochet and Konosuke Takeshita. Overall, I felt like it was a great match. It was an interesting finish, in my opinion. Kyle Fletcher turns heel against Will Ospreay, which was you know, I feel like it was necessary. I ultimately feel like it was necessary for him to kind of turn heel there. It's a good spot for him. You've seen the Don Callis family lately just seem weak, seem like it's not really like I don't know, just doesn't really seem that great. Doesn't really seem that good. But this made them strong. This made them really, really strong. So there's no doubt in my mind. Obviously, you saw, of course, freaking, you saw Don Callis bring out that damn screwdriver once again, which was, kind of annoying, kind of troublesome. But it is what it is. Ultimately, you saw Konosuke Takeshita dethrone Will Ospreay and become the new AEW International Champion. Next, we see Swerve Strickland return to AEW, addresses the crowd, basically saying thank you. And MVP comes out, confronts Swerve about his future. He thanks MVP for doing whatever he can, and obviously he helped part ways for African American wrestlers. He appreciated him for all his all his advice, basically, kind of moving forward. But it was kind of crazy. It was kind of crazy. But overall, it was a great promo. I thought it was a great promo. I definitely liked how Swerve Strickland was able to kind of play to the fans a little bit and kind of be like it seemed like he was going to take the side of MVP, and he was because he was kind of throwing shade at Prince Nana. But he was able to kind of thank him for everything he's done for him in the past. Where Strickland as a babyface is going absolutely nowhere. Got a huge confrontation between him and Shelton Benjamin. And yeah, it should be pretty cool. But overall, definitely a great promo. I definitely liked how AEW did that. Next, we have Hologram in a 2 out of 3 falls match, defeats the Beast Mortos. He was able to pick up the first fall and the third fall. A great wrestler. The Beast Mortos was a huge challenge. That guy as well has been on a nice little win like little column there. So not really it was a good match, and Hologram once again stays perfect, undefeated. Next we have Darby Allin taking on Brody King. This match basically was exactly what we anticipated it to be. Darby Allin, although he has lost against Brody King 6 out of 7 times, he was able to pick up the victory. And then at the end of the match, you saw the former friends have mutual respect for each other, give themselves a handshake. I thought that was ultimately pretty badass. Next, we have the Young Bucks retain their AEW World Heavyweight Championships against Private Party, which wasn't really a shock. I kind of knew that was going to happen, but this elite thing, with Kazuchika Okada and Jack Perry, I believe is dead. I believe is dead now. I think Matthew and Nicholas Jackson are kind of focusing on their own, careers. They never really mentioned about them coming together. Obviously, still friends. Obviously, still alliance members. But I don't know. It's just kind of crazy how that storyline kind of seemed like it fizzled out because I feel like Tony Khan kind of knew it was kind of going too much. Mark Briscoe defeats Chris Jericho and retains his World Heavyweight Ring of Honor Championship, which is great because he deserves it. He's the best wrestler One of the best wrestlers on the whole AEW train right there with the CMLL, New Japan Professional Wrestling, and of course Ring of Honor and Chris Jericho wasn't going to dethrone my man Mark Briscoe. So I was happy about that. Happy about that as well. Lastly, we have the main event. The main event: Jon Moxley defeats Bryan Danielson to become the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Um, this was a very violent but yet impactful match. Wheeler Yuta came out, to kind of seem like he was going to help Bryan Danielson. Then attack Darby Allin, help duct tape him down. Then you saw Private Party come into the mix. Then you saw Jeff Jarrett. Then you saw Orange Cassidy as well as Daniel Garcia. A lot of these people with a huge respect for Bryan Danielson. And once again, they were going to bring out that plastic bag approach again, which is bad, which was terrible. I'm surprised Tony Khan gave the okay for that as well. But it's clear right now that Bryan Danielson has retired from full time wrestling. It was about the right thing to do with his injuries and stuff like that. A couple of matches heading toward WrestleDream. He lost both feeling in his legs fighting up against Kazukata on Dynamite. Um, it's it sucks. I feel like AEW ultimately will kind of suffer from losing Danielson. But of course, you have MJF, and then you had Adam Cole kind of return to AEW to kind of take the sting away a little bit there. But ultimately, Bryan Danielson is one of the best wrestlers, and he wanted to face up against Mox. This was a nice little match. I can bet you, backstage after they took him on the stretcher, Jon Moxley was waiting there to, kind of give Daniel Bryan a nice little hug, be like, hey, man, thank you for all that you've done for the company. Thank you for being by my side during our time with the BCC. And of course, Castanoli, Pac, and Wheeler Yuta was probably back there as well. You know, it, it- you know, when you're kind of doing something in the entertainment industry, in terms of wrestling as well, like you feel so confident of like making this guy look like crap, beating the crap out of him, just knowing that and a mere moments later, you're gonna apologize, you're gonna hug him, you're having a nice, maybe, a cold drink or something like that together. So there's no doubt in my mind that I feel like Bryan Danielson, no shame, left out a G, left out one of the historic figures of all elite wrestling. So overall, I feel like it was I feel like it was a nice way to kind of get out of there. Now he's going to, now he's destined for neck surgery, which is great. Hopefully, like I said, he returns part time and hopefully, he doesn't take too much of a break. I feel like he will ultimately. I don't know if they're going to give him that goodbye speech thing going, maybe. And then that's when you kind of have everybody from AEW kind of come out and applaud him, and he's gone for about a year. Like, he's going to be gone for like about a year. So, it should be interesting to find out what happens next with Bryan Danielson. It's going to be an interesting episode of AEW Dynamite. I guarantee you that. All right, next we're going to talk about WWE and AEW's PLEs comparison. Some people complain that WWE's PLEs are too short. Some people complain that AEW PLEs are too long. So we're going to dive into the subject matter when we come back. So hey, do not go anywhere.